A Sunday, a Sunday school teacher asks, "Now, Johnny, tell me frankly, do you say prayers before eating?" "No, ma'am," little Johnny replies. "I don't have to because my mum is a good cook." Oh. A pastor asked a little boy if he said his prayers every night. The boy replied, "Yes, Father." "And do you always say them in the morning too?" the pastor asked. "No, Father," the boy replied. "I am not scared in the daytime." So, my brothers and sisters, when life gets busy, almost always, the first thing that gets tossed off our to-do list is prayer, mass, and a quiet time with God. Prayer should take priority over everything on our schedule. The Lord said to Martha in today's gospel, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is a need for only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her." What does that mean? Have you ever been in a hurry and buttoned up a long overcoat with lots of buttons, only to find out that the coat was uneven when you were done? What went wrong? I will tell you what went wrong. When you don't get the first button in the right hole, all the rest are out of sequence too. That is a parable about life. Jesus said it in the Sermon on the Mount: "Seek first God's kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be yours as well." If the Lord is not the high priority in our life, then, like the overcoat, so many other things in life will be out of whack as well. So, my brothers and sisters, today's gospel is explained by saying, standard way of saying, Martha was wrong to be so busy and active, and Jesus wants us to be like Mary, contemplative and prayerful. Or that we need to balance the activity of Martha with the contemplation of Mary. That is closer to the mark. But if we read the story carefully, we might notice that Jesus doesn't criticize Martha for being busy or active. He corrects her for being anxious and distracted. You know, our culture, our country is known for hard work. People work hard, and we need to work hard. So Jesus is not criticizing the hard work, Martha being active and busy, but he corrects her for being anxious and distracted. Not her physical activity, but her spiritual activity. She is worried about a great many things. Jesus is not telling her to stop being active, and he doesn't necessarily praise Mary for being a better person, just that she has made the better choice in that moment. So the story of Martha and Mary highlights that both sisters embody essential aspects of discipleship. While Martha's focus on service is commendable, Mary's choice to sit at Jesus' feet and learn highlights the importance of prioritizing spiritual growth and intimacy with God. It is not about choosing one over the other. Luke places this story right after the Good Samaritan. Last week we heard the story of the Good Samaritan, and this week the story of Martha and Mary, to emphasize that the disciple must first love Jesus, love God. That's our first priority. Serving others is essential, like the Good Samaritan, but it is not enough to be a disciple. So, to be a disciple of Jesus, the first requirement is loving Jesus or loving God. And then, like the buttons on the coat, everything else will follow. So the Gospel of Luke is known as the Gospel of women. Look at Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus. Women during Jesus' time were, they were treated bad. They had no freedom. So the Gospel of Luke is called the Gospel of women because he raised the status of women. Jesus raised the status of women. It is also called the Gospel of poor or the Gospel of mercy because the prodigal son story is in the Gospel of Luke. So one time I was teaching the second graders about the Eucharist. One little girl during the class asked me, Father, why women cannot become priests? Wow, she is thinking in the second grade, very good question. Then, I was very gently explaining to her, if Jesus wanted women to be priests, who would be the first women priest? You won't believe. She answered, Mother Mary, Blessed Virgin Mary. If Jesus wanted women to be priests, she would be the first one. You see? So Jesus had 12 apostles, and the church continues the tradition. Nothing against women, no. But today you see, women are in many ministries in the church. If we don't have women, I think we need to close our church too, because they are so active, involved in so many ministries. They volunteer so much, they do so much. Thank you all for all you do. So if you want to read the Gospel of Luke, you are welcome. Look at the same message in the first reading about Abraham's love for God. The first verse, the Lord appeared to Abraham by the terebinth of Mamre. What is this terebinth of Mamre, Terebinth is a tree, the tree of Mamre. That's the location where the Lord appeared. Or some Bible translations have at the oaks of Mamre, oak tree. Abraham understood that his guests were more than just 3 men. Many Christian commentators have noted that this could be one of the earliest revelations of the mystery of the Holy Trinity. Abraham saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to greet them. You see, he ran and greeted them, bowing to the ground. He invited them. That is the quality of a disciple, giving first place to God, first place to Jesus. So Abraham ran to greet God at the entrance of the tent. So that is the attitude of the disciple, no compromise. When it comes to God, no compromise. And in the second reading, St. Paul discusses the concept of redemptive suffering. Pope St. John Paul II, he promoted redemptive suffering. Our parents, grandparents, they taught us, offer it up. They know the theology very well, like St. Paul's theology, offer it up. What does that mean? It's called redemptive suffering. It's the belief that the suffering, when united with Christ's suffering, can be offered up to God for the salvation of oneself or others, for spiritual or physical needs of oneself or others. You see, when we unite our sufferings with the sufferings of Christ, it will bring a lot of merit. So our grandparents know the theology very well, Offer it up means uniting our sufferings with Christ's sufferings. So brothers and sisters, an active life without prayer is like a tree without roots. A prayerful life without service is like a tree without fruit. So roots and fruits. Prayer and good works are 2 central aspects of Jesus' life. Jesus spent the whole night in prayer, and all through the day, he went about doing good. So both are important. Let us not dismiss prayer, saying we are too busy. Instead, let us find a balance in worship and service. In the words of St. Augustine, love and do whatever you want. God bless you all. Amen.